Good afternoon, my brothers and sisters. This is the Roadrunner Podcast, straight out of Vegas. And if you haven't gotten that dog already, I'll remind you later on to do so. Let's get to the basics here. Let's talk about these actors and actresses at the Grammys. They talk their bullshit, and they're sitting and enjoying being behind closed doors with their security around them. They secure the area so nobody can go in the event. So they're in a secured location while they're giving their opinions about America and how about the American people are supposed to adapt to 22 million illegal aliens coming across our borders and infiltrating our country, committing crimes and asking for handouts for everything for free. So they raise our housing prices, our rental prices on the properties that we rent. They totally take care of our take advantage of any kind of medical benefits that are available to them. They're going to get everything they possibly can for free. So that's why they come over here. That's why they came over here originally. That's why Gavin Newsom, Uncle Newly, and I just sick and tired of calling him Gavin. So Uncle Newly from now on. If you haven't listened to my podcast in the past, you're going to be confused. But if you have in the past, so you know who the fuck Uncle Newly is. He's a lying scumbag. He's a lying sack of shit. He told these people to come over to America and come to California so they can get free medical and everything else along with it. He lied his ass off and told them that so he could have the people infiltrate our borders and change our culture. That's exactly what they want to do because he's a fucking socialist. The socialists are like borrowing air that we're breathing. They're actually taking oxygen out of the air and telling us what to do at the same time. And that's what these Democratic politicians do in Congress and in the Senate. The American taxpayers pay their salary, and they're sitting there vetoing everything that the Republican politicians are trying to pass. The greatest thing about the Republicans now is they stick together. Just like the Democrats stick together. They always stick together in the same beehive. And they're full of shit because they totally contradict anything Trump wants to do. And that's why Hakeem Jeffries is another lying sack of shit. He denounces anything that Trump wants to accomplish, anything the Republicans want to accomplish. Then he'll twist the truth and say on the news how and why he's doing this. But he's twisting the truth while he's speaking because he's a natural-born liar. That's what Democrats are. They're natural-born liars. They have to be great liars because they have no agenda to give. They have no truth to give to the American people. They have to twist everything up. That's what they try to accomplish. And that goes for this Billie Eilish, who's a paid entertainer, has been a millionaire for years, since she was a teenager. And she just said, okay, how can we complain about illegals coming in on our land when the land is stolen already? Oh, that was a beautiful statement that she made. Oh, she got a nice applause, and everybody said, hey, great, this is fantastic. They loved what she said. All the socialists sitting in the same room, along with Don Lemonade. I'm called Don Lemonade in my book. So there you go, Don Lemonade. So he's sitting in there in the room also, so naturally he's clapping along with other people. And when she made this comment, she didn't realize that the natives were going to be, the native tribe, where her house is sitting on, her estate, her $14 million estate is sitting on, that they were going to call her up and ask her when she was going to give the stolen property back. When are you going to give your property back if it's stolen? Because you just said on national television that this is all stolen land. That includes the property that your estate sits on. So what's up with that? Well, I love the fact that the natives reached out to her and told her that, because the truth of the matter is native people would much rather have the people that are here in this country now than a bunch of illegals constantly changing the culture that they've had to put up with for the last 200 years. And they're hateful toward white people as far as that goes, because in their opinion, 200 years ago, we stole their land. We didn't steal the land, we fought for it. That's what we did. We fought for the land. And they weren't smart enough to join together, all the tribes to join together and form one tribe, because they were so busy in the past bickering with each other and fighting each other and killing each other through the years that they didn't have a strong enough alliance to stand up to the white people, to all the infiltrators that came into America. And I don't like the fact that the old traders or whatever infested their blankets with smallpox, which killed a lot of Indians. That's a terrible thing. It's kind of like what China did with us. They had the COVID, like disease. They had the China disease, the China virus, which Trump called it, and I love that name because it was a China virus. It originated in China, although Fauci helped create it. Fauci's sitting there. He was like amended by Biden. He's no longer. He's like exonerated. Well, I'd like to see that change. If anything changes, I'd like to see that change also, because he lied to the American people and killed millions of people throughout the world indirectly. Fauci is a murderer. And at one time, they tried to make this midget, this punk-ass midget, be the... they tried to publicize him on national news. He was he was so sexy. He was the next sexy man alive. He was the most sexy man alive. And they were making a big deal out of it. The fake media always makes a big deal out of anybody that supports their agenda, anybody that goes against conservative beliefs in America. They're going to stand behind. They're going to do the opposite. They're on the opposite side of the fence. The media represents the socialist movement in America, and it's a sad case that this is another reason why I wanted to start my podcast. This is another reason why it's important that I try to make this podcast as successful as possible. And ultimately, if I become famous, sure, people are going to want to buy my book. That's my ultimate deal. That's why I created the podcast, so I can sell copies of my book, because I'm not popular. I'm not well known like the lion bitch Kamala Harris. It's still trying to promote her book. And her book's a failure. It was a failure before it even came out in print, because she didn't write the book. The book doesn't come from her heart. If the book doesn't come from an author's heart, a writer, who gives his heart to you, or her heart to you, and spills her heart out and is truthful and believes in what they're writing, then what good is a book to read? You might be able to buy their books more cheaply than mine, so what? I'm a publishing house. I represent myself. I wrote the book myself. I published it myself. I put up the money myself, because I'm a true gambler. I've been a gambler my entire lifetime. I didn't mind investing like a certain amount of money to print 10,000 copies, and believe me, it cost a lot, because it's the best quality publication of any book ever in print that's ever been in print. It's the best quality book that's ever been published. And it's uncensored. That's another thing that's beautiful about it. It comes straight from my heart. So that means it comes straight from God, because God is in my heart every day of my life. I'm not a religious person. Don't ever mix me up with a religious person, because I think religion is good. I believe that religion is good for a lot of people. And a lot of people, it's good if they want to take the time to go to church and pray to their God and believe in the certain religion they believe in, because all religions are good as far as I'm concerned. All religions. Actually, I'll probably go to Catholic church more in the future. If I ever go to church in the future, I'll go to church with my wife, because she's a Catholic. She was born and raised Catholic. It's 9% of all people in Vietnam are Catholic, and only 1% are Mormon. Believe it or not, 1% of the Vietnamese race is Mormon. That means that's 1 million people that are Mormons in the country of Vietnam, which is a very small country, but it has 100 million people. 9 million people are Catholic, 1 million people are Mormon, 70 million people are Buddhist, and 20% are atheists. Well, atheists can definitely kiss my ass, because I'll take a Buddhist over an atheist 10 to 1, maybe 100 to 1. Because at least a Buddhist believes in something. At least they believe in something. So more power to them. If people want to believe in Buddhism, go for it. I think that it's a necessity for all religions to survive and thrive throughout all cultures in the world. And anybody who knocks any religion or any belief, they need to start to learn how to believe in themselves, because until you learn how to believe in yourself, you'll never learn how to believe in others with an open mind, because you'll always have hate in your thoughts. You'll always have hate. And the more hate you have, the quicker you age, the faster you're going to be your aging process is going to occur in your body. The more hate you have in your body, believe me, you're going to die sooner. You're going to die more quickly. First book out listed is Beehive Golden Pond in East Wendover, Utah. Wendover's actually a border town, so it's in 2 states, this small city of 6,000 people, about 90% Spanish people. What a beautiful town this is. That's Beehive Golden Pond on 479 Wendover Boulevard in Wendover, Utah. Buy a book there and get the free hat along with any book purchase. To purchase my book, go to www.theroadrunnerpodcast.com and I'll throw in that free hat with any book purchase. My title, The Roadrunner in the Yellow Zone, is the greatest title ever created. Without the sun and the moon feeding off each other, there is no life on Earth. That's a natural process, and I believe that 100%. So if you can just kind of put the hate to the side and look at things like objectively, not be soft. I like being a hard ass. I'm stubborn. I was born stubborn. I have a stubborn nature. This Billie Eilish, she's not stubborn like me. She wants to act like she is. She wants to say the right thing to people around her because she's very worried about what people are going to think. That's why she said what she did at the Grammys. That's why a lot of people speak up at the Grammys. They're not really out there on the front lines. They're not risking their lives. They're not jeopardizing their freedoms by being in an enclosed room, high-secured room, to where they can give their point of view to the American people, and they don't live the same lifestyle that the American people live. They're not confronted with crime and hate that has crossed our borders, because any human being that walks across our border and wants something for free, I guarantee they're haters. They're not players, they're haters. There's a difference between being a player and a hater. And there's a lot of haters out there that hate me because I'm a player. And I happen to be one of the best poker players in the world, but I'm not going to compare myself to anybody, because in any day or instance, if I'm not focused when I'm playing poker, I can become my own worst enemy in that poker game. It doesn't matter how good you are. If you're not focused when you're playing poker, you're going to get beaten on. They're going to beat you. Other opponents are going to play better that day than they normally did, and you're going to play a little worse that day than you normally do, and they're going to get the best of you. And you have to play to the best of your abilities at all times. You can never lower your guard in a poker game, because everybody sitting around that table is basically your enemy. They're your opponent, and your opponent is not your best friend. They're not your friend. They're not fighting for what you believe in, and they're sitting in another seat. So they're dealing with a different battle. Their battle is to get the money, to get the chips, and your battle is to get the money and get the chips. If there's 9 players sitting there at the table, that means there's 9 different adversaries playing against each other, and that's what makes poker so great. That's why poker is the greatest game of all, because you can be the best player in the world, and the same people will play with you every day because they're not playing pool with you head up. There's no way that a player's going to play head up poker with you every day if you're the best player and you can outplay them every day. So that goes the same with pool, and that's the difference between pool and poker. You're competing against one opponent. In poker, you're competing with like 7 to 8 to 9 different opponents. And That's a good thing, because that's what makes poker such good action. That's what makes playing live poker such a beautiful game to play. And getting back to Ryan Kirk, he's a piece of garbage, because he took his authority, his small claimed authority as being the poker room manager of the Aria poker room, and took his authority and used it against me, because he knew it would ruffle my feathers. He knew that. And I warned him. I said, okay, you want to ruffle my feathers? You're not going to let me come back into play? Or something so stupid as this, because I am not the one who instigated the situation. Your cage member in your poker room instigated the situation. Your cage member went out of his way to upset me. And I reacted. And he happened to enjoy the moment, because he knew that I was upset in the first place, because I was walking into the cage and I only had $12 in chips left after out of an $8,000 investment. I actually sat down invested a total of $8,000 in chips and walked up to the cage with $12. Didn't say a word, just wanted to cash out, get my $12 and walk out of the casino. Come back the next day, tomorrow's a new day. But he wasn't going to allow that to happen. He wanted to get a reaction from me immediately, because he knew that he could ruffle my feathers. And the best moment for him was to do it right then, to get me upset, to upset me. And if he was successful, which he was, that's why I gave him both fingers underneath the cage and told him to give my chips and stop talking like the person he was. Because he was the person who was being racist to me. He was the one who was treating me like I was a punk-ass white boy. And he's not my black brother. He never will be my black brother. Only my black brothers act as my friends, and they treat me with respect. Any black man that treats me like I'm a punk and talks to me like I'm a punk, I'm going to let him know. I'm going to remind him that I'm not the punk he thinks I am, and I'm going to stand up to him, and I'm going to be fearless when I do, because I get along with everybody when I work out in the gym. And I especially get along with my black brothers, because I go out of my way to verbally show them respect, because I know they've got their guard up already. I'm straight from the street. I know this already. They've got their guard up, because they've been around enough punk-ass white boys, enough punk-ass whatever. It doesn't matter, Asian people, Spanish people, whatever, that they've always got their guard up, because black people are street smart. They're naturally more street smart than white people, I can guarantee you that. And they don't get into other people's business. They don't go out of the way to get into other people's business. But this punk-ass black boy, he got in my business. He ruffled my feathers. He knew exactly what he was doing. So Ryan Kirk refused to look at the situation, and knew that if he kicked me out and didn't allow me to come back in and play poker and play pot limit, which the Aria is one of the two best rooms to play pot limit in. Actually, it's better than the Wynn. So it's one of two rooms to play pot limit in Omaha, which is the greatest poker game of all. Most competitive poker game of all. Most complicated poker game of all to play. So when he went out of his way to 86 me indefinitely, I reminded him, okay, you're going to play that game? Just like your cage member was dealing with the most outspoken person in America, so are you. You're dealing with the Roadrunner also. So, make your move. If you want to sit on that like it's cement, just like the politicians want to sit on the Viagra and Cialis being required by prescription so they can fill their pockets and get their own cheap way out, because they're not really representing the American people, because they don't educate the American people. And not very many politicians know how healthy sex capsules are anyway. So, you want to play that game? That's fine. I'm rolling with my game also. I'm going to ruffle your feathers, and I'm going to go above you, because I know just staying at the same level that you think you're on such a high level, I already know there's somebody above you in your organization. So I'm going to go to somebody higher on the ship, and that's exactly why I'm going after William Hornbuckle. And that's exactly why I'm exposing the MGM for what they're doing. Now, let me tell you something about sports betting so you understand. Another retail outlet to buy a book is Chevron Gas, Liquor, and Convenience Store on 1301 East Altman Street. There's 2 Chevron stations. Make sure you get the right one. That's Chevron Liquor, Gas, and Convenience Store on 1301 East Altman Street in Ely, Nevada. You'll get the free hat whenever you purchase my book. To purchase my book, go to www.theroadrunnerpodcast.com, and I'll throw in that free hat with any book purchase. My title, The Roadrunner in the Yellow Zone, is the greatest title ever created. Without the sun and the moon feeding off each other, there is no life on Earth. Sports betting went up 25% in gross revenue. 25% in gross revenue from the year 2023 to the year 2024. For the entire year of 2024, the gross revenue for sports betting, legal sports book betting, throughout casinos and on the internet, went up 25% from 2024 versus 2023. 25% gross income. The sports book brought in $145 to $150 billion in gross revenue in 2024. This is not including the illegal industry where sports betting is made through unlawful bookies or booking agencies that people don't know about, hidden booking that's not recorded. And this is also worldwide sports book betting that's not recorded. Only in America, legal sports book betting brought in the legal industry, all the casinos allowing sports betting to occur at their sports book throughout all casinos in America. This means that worldwide and illegal sports betting is not included in this figure. This way more than the 150 million. 145 to 150 million, 145 to 150 billion dollars, excuse me, not million. 145 to 150 billion dollars was bet legally in the sportsbook betting throughout America. Illegal sportsbook betting. That's what we know about. The hidden sportsbook betting and throughout the world was not included in this figure. So it's up to $150 billion in 2024. So it was roughly about $120 billion in 2023. But let me tell you what's going to happen in 2025 when the new projection comes out. It's going to be higher than it was 2024. Let me tell you why it's going to be higher. Because there's more disposable income. Because there's more income that people are producing now from 2025 to 2024. And 2026 is going to be even worse than 2025. So the gross income from sportsbook betting, legal sportsbook betting, is going to go up every year during Trump's time in office as president. And if another Republican gets elected as president, which I hope will be DeSantis or J.D. Vance, either one, I would vote for or speak for at their rallies. Providing there's good security, of course. Because there's some nutcase that's going to want to come after me just like they came after Trump. And just like they came after Charlie Kirk. And I'm not going to depend on somebody's security. I'm going to have my own security there. But here's how it goes. If a Republican remains as president, I can guarantee you sportsbook betting will go up every year, every single year follow. And that's my opinion. I'm not basing this on fact. I'm just giving you my opinion. Because if a Democrat gets into office as the president in 2028, watch out, the economy's going to go down because they're going to start regulating everything. Then they're going to want to make it harder to drill for oil. They're going to do something like support socialist movements or dictatorships and not go after them like Trump did in Venezuela. So they're not going to make a big deal out of India buying Russian oil because Democrats are, it's a bad word to use, but I'm just going to say it, and I apologize to any woman listening out there, but the reason women are so beautiful is because God gave them a pussy, okay? And that's like what I love about women. They were given a natural pussy. But these Democratic politicians, they're all pussies, including Joe Biden, including Obama. He's a knee shaker. That's why his wife, Michelle, is the boss, the one who wears the pants. It's that simple. And this Billie Eilish, she said what she wanted to say because she thought she could get away with it, because she thought she was saying what the crowd would like hearing. Well, she's not an activator like she thinks she is. She's actually stuck her own foot in her mouth by the statement she made, and that's why when the Indian tribe reached out to her so readily, like the next day after she made this comment, they reached out to her and asked her when she was going to give that stolen land back to them, because her land, her estate sits on the land of an old Indian tribe in L.A. So the Indians were borrowing the land from God also. They just got here sooner. They were in America sooner, that's all. And they were weak-minded. They didn't stick together. And instead, they fought against each other, and that's why they were so weak and couldn't beat and defeat the white man, because the white man, they all got together. And that's why they beat the Indian tribes, because the Indian tribes couldn't join together and join their alliance and form one large alliance to keep the white man from coming over to America and taking over America. And that's exactly what happened. And getting back to this, the Redskins, I don't think the Indians are happy that they changed that name. I think that there were a lot of Indians that liked the Washington Redskins because of their name. I think they favored the Washington Redskins because they liked the name of the Washington football team, the National League football team called the Redskins. I know my best friend who OD'd liked the Redskins, who died outside of the Ocean's 11 casino in the Econo Lodge, right next door to the office, because he took one too many pills to go to sleep, so he'd wake up for his new job as a prop at the Bicycle Club in Los Angeles. And Oceanside sits about 60 miles south of where the bicycle sits. All the way up to the 5 freeway to the 7-town. You go down the 7-town to Bell Gardens, and then you're at the Bicycle Club. If before you turn down the 710, you drive past the Commerce Casino right off the 5 freeway. And if you want to go west of that, off the 5, when you're driving up from Ocean's 11, you can take the 405 freeway and cut off at the 605, then go to Wine Gardens and play poker or gamble in their pit, which is a Pan 9, Pai Gow, and such. Then you can drive on up the 405 to the Hustler Casino off the 91 freeway, and you can drive on up the 405 freeway to the 110 freeway, the Harbor Freeway, and take Redondo Beach Boulevard off the 110 north, and take that about a mile north, and you're right there at the Hustler Casino, which is one of my 2 favorite places to play poker, play live poker in L.A. And of course, you continue up the 110 to the 105. You take the 105 to Prairie, take the 105 toward the LAX airport, and you get off on Prairie, which is the next exit after Crenshaw, and you go to the my favorite casino of all, Hollywood Park Casino, where the SoBe Stadium is, the most beautiful stadium in America, where the Rams and the Chargers play every other week. They use the same stadium, the same arena to play their home court football games. So every other week it's the Rams, every other week it's the Chargers. And someday I want to have season tickets, because I know I'm going to have to buy a house. because I might not ever get back in the area. I might not ever get back in any MGM property, because maybe like Hornbuckle, William Hornbuckle, which I call Hornybuckle, will enjoy going for the American public's juggler more and more in the future, while he's slowly but surely bringing the MGM out of debt by this new business strategy to hire Jamie Foxx as an ambassador to gambling. And this is what it all boils down to. 95% of all sportsbook betting is done online. 95% of the gross revenue was all created from online sports betting. Only 5% was created by walking into the casino and making a sports bet, and maybe going to a restaurant and enjoying the restaurant, and maybe not getting past the pit and walking into the pit area. So this should remind you also why online sports betting is so valuable to a casino, because they want to make it as convenient as possible for somebody to make a sports bet. Say if they're sitting at their home, they can sneak off into the other room where the wife doesn't know they're making the bet, and they can make the bet and place the bet, and then they come back out and watch a game. I'm sure that 9 out of 10 husbands, if their wife knew what type of money they were betting on sports, they would hit the roof. They'd hit the roof. And they'd be slapping them on the ass with that broom that they're using to clean the house. Because actually, the MGM is actually cleaning the house and cleaning the bank account from the husband, and his wife doesn't know about it. And then when she does find out about it, maybe they have a divorce, maybe they have a few arguments, maybe they lose the house, maybe he loses his job, maybe they have to remortgage the house before they lose the house, or whatever it may be. Sports betting is a national epidemic, and the MGM knows this. The leaders of the MGM, the CEO, the president, Hornbuckle knows it. The people underneath him know it. The stockholders know it. Everybody in the MGM Incorporated has anything to do with running the floor, the pit area, the poker room, any form of gambling, including the slot machines, anybody in the slot department, anybody working in the casino, if they have any intelligence at all, they already know. They already know how powerful gambling is, because they watch people come in and out of that casino on a daily basis and gamble. But imagine how valuable online sports betting is if they're willing to give up that person not walking into the casino to make that sports bet, where they might spend some money in the restaurant, or might get some fast food while they're in the casino, or they might bet on blackjack, play a few hands of blackjack, or they might play the slot machine. They might roll the dice and play craps and shoot craps. They might have fun at the roulette wheel. They might want to play Keno. But making it possible for people not to have to walk into a casino and bet online, so this should remind you, the American public, and anybody listening to this podcast throughout the world, how valuable online sports betting is. 95% of the revenue in 2024 from legal sportsbook betting was done online. Only 5% of their gross income was created from people walking into a casino or being inside a casino and betting at the sportsbook. And while they're paying their employees to take the bets, while they're paying for the real estate and the space for that sportsbook for them to place the bets, while they're using all that expensive space to have a bunch of television sets inside to entertain the people that are betting sports, or maybe not betting sports, but maybe they just come in there and they like to watch the games, maybe order a cocktail or whatever and relax, act like they are a big sports bettor, or just enjoy the moment. And some people betting horses or whatever it may be. The atmosphere is created in a casino, so that's why it's extremely vital also. But they're willing to take all this away from the person walking into a casino and enjoying all these amenities and making a sports bet in the casino. They're willing to give all that up so a person conveniently can bet online and not have to walk into a casino. 95% of sportsbook betting is all done online. That means the casino doesn't care about the person walking inside their casino to play a little blackjack or craps or slot machines or eat at one of the restaurants in the casino. They're probably leasing out the space to that entrepreneur that owns that restaurant, or maybe some of the restaurants are owned by the casino also. But I can guarantee you, if it's that powerful, if sportsbook betting is that powerful, that should remind you, the American public, not to give the MGM the action they think they deserve to have by going after your juggler in the first place and creating online sports betting. They're the ones who advertise, and advertising is the name of the game. This is why lawyers advertise on billboards along the freeways throughout Las Vegas. The freeways are drenched with different billboards of lawyers advertising on billboards throughout Las Vegas. And now America is becoming even more saturated. You can't go through a major city without seeing billboard advertising for lawyers, because lawyers are smart. They're cagey. They know that advertising is the name of the game, and advertising is the name of the game for any business, any marketed business in America and throughout the world. Advertising is the name of the game. Advertising is an important investment for all businesses to make for the business to grow. Now, the greatest form of advertising is word of mouth advertising. So that's how my podcast is going to grow, by word of mouth, because I'm a very unique character. I'm a notorious character. I'm like the most notorious person you ever listen to on a live podcast, because I'm straight from the street. And it's my street savvy that's reminding you why online sports betting is so valuable to casinos, especially the MGM. And that's why the same year that they hired Hornbuckle, William Hornbuckle, which I call Horny Buckle because he's horny for your money. He's horny for your wife's new dress that you're not going to be able to buy her because you placed that sportsbook bet online, or you're going to have to sell your house and you're going to have to rent an apartment, because it was all a dilemma that was caused by advertising and getting you to make that sportsbook bet online, just like trying to get you to smoke a cigarette. They don't care if a cigarette kills you, the cigarette companies. They don't care. They came out with vaping merchandise, and they own the vaping companies, the cigarette companies. They're not going to let anybody steal the market, no matter what the market is and how the market is created in the future. They're going to take that market, and they're going to grab a piece of that market and not giving it up. Because if a smoker doesn't smoke cigarettes, they're going to smoke vaping merchandise. They're going to vape. That's that simple. And the cigarette companies aren't stupid. These executives know. They know exactly what they're supposed to do. They are filtered for one thing, toward making their business successful. They represent. They don't represent America like Trump represents America. Trump is better and stronger than any of these entrepreneurs. Stronger than any of them. 10 times sharper than Hornbuckle, I can guarantee you. And I'm sharper than Hornbuckle also, because I see right through his bullshit. And that's why I'm exposing him, because his chicken shit poker room manager, Ryan Kirk, went out of his way. So astoundingly to make it impossible for me to walk in there and play poker and play my favorite game, which is pot limit, which he already has the best pot limit games in Vegas. The best pot limit games in Vegas are in the area. The next place you can possibly play pot limit in Omaha is in the Wynn Casino with the Encore, which is the casino sitting to the side of the Wynn. It was built after the Wynn. The Steve Wynn originally had created. And, hey, I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what Steve Wynn says. You shouldn't have done so much cocaine, because you would be able to see. You wouldn't be blind if you weren't cocaine blind. So stay off the cocaine, everybody, because it's no good. It's a rat's medicine. And there's no future to it. Another retail outlet selling my book and free hat is Hoover Dam and Liquor in Boulder City, Nevada, just outside of Las Vegas and outside of Henderson, Nevada, just south of there on the way to Phoenix. So that's 1311 Boulder City Parkway is where they're located. Hoover Dam and Liquor. go over there to the best little liquor store in the state of Nevada, Hoover Dam Liquor. To purchase my book, go to www.theroadrunnerpodcast.com, and I'll throw in that free hat with any book purchase. My title, The Roadrunner in the Yellow Zone, is the greatest title ever created. Without the sun and the moon feeding off each other, there is no life on Earth. Marijuana is a good thing. It's okay. I can't smoke weed right now, but that's all good because my wife is even happier if I'm not able to smoke weed. I used to smoke weed on a daily basis in Vietnam, out of my balcony, off my balcony, my 4th level balcony. I'd stand up there and smoke a joint. She was cooking dinner or relaxing with her sisters or her family or whatever. That's where I'd go smoke my weed, on the balcony. But I don't go to the balcony anymore to smoke weed. I just stand out on the balcony and watch the planes fly in. Because we live right by the Saigon, Ho Chi Minh Airport. You call it Saigon, they call it Ho Chi Minh. It's the same name. It's the same spot. Saigon is Ho Chi Minh, named after one of the greatest leaders in the world, peaceful leader, person who helped end the Vietnamese War. Ho Chi Minh stood about 4'10". My favorite place to go smoke a joint used to be at the statue of Ho Chi Minh, right by Walking Street. But now I just go to the statue and take a look at Ho Chi Minh, standing up on the statue, and he looks like a great big man, a tall man, because he was a tall man in real life. Truly was. Ho Chi Minh's the greatest. And wherever he went, I hope it's the same place I go. Because when he died, I know he went to a better spot. There's no doubt in my mind. He was a great human being. And that's all I have to say about Ho Chi Minh. If you want to go eat the best steak in Saigon, it's a restaurant that was originally created in Saigon. It's called El Gacho, Brazilian Steakhouse. They have 4 or 5 locations, maybe several locations in Saigon. And I have a certain one that I really like going to. It's very close to Walking Street, and that's my favorite location to go to. And the greatest host that I've ever ran into in my lifetime, his name is Sebastian, who married a Vietnamese woman and lives in Saigon. He's actually French, originally from France. He can speak like 3 or 4 languages, so he can he can speak pretty much what language you speak when you walk up there, and he'll know how to talk to you. So if you ever want to go to the best steakhouse in the world, as far as I'm concerned, the best quality steak you'll ever eat in your lifetime, El Gacho Steakhouse, Brazilian Steakhouse. El Gacho, Brazilian Steakhouse in Saigon. And like I said, there's other locations. My favorite one is right by Walking Street. You can't pick a better spot to go to than Walking Street when you go visit Saigon. And the Red Light District downtown. They've got a lot of good Indian restaurants also. I love Indian food. And the Indian restaurants are equally as good as Indian restaurants in India. The Indian restaurants in Saigon. They have so many different restaurants to eat at in Saigon. It's a great metropolis. You can't beat it. It's fantastic. Vietnam is awesome. Take a trip to the beach and go to any coastal beach resort. You'll have the time of your life. And you'll stay in a 3-star hotel that is like $100 tops per night. And it's like a 3 or 4-star hotel in Vietnam. It's like staying in a hotel in America that costs like $300, $400, $500 a night. And Sinquan. In America, I'll just take a regular motel. I'm not interested in paying too much money for a room because checkout time's 11 a.m. Noon at the latest. Even in a higher priced hotel, you still got to check out of the room. It's not yours anymore after noon, right? After 11 a.m. That's all I've been my feeling about motels. So there you go. I am the Roadrunner, and I've traveled and I've lived and stayed in motels, like more motels than you can imagine. I spent more money on motels than people will spend in their lifetimes renting apartments. Because whenever I traveled, I had to stay in a motel. I couldn't lease an apartment everywhere I went because I wasn't there long enough. I didn't want to be embedded to a lease and locked into a lease. So motels are perfect for me to stay in when I'm traveling. And I don't like getting up in the morning and sleeping in a tent in a sleeping bag and not being able to take a shower the next day when I wake up. I'd rather stay in an RV. I'd rather stay in one of those trailers that you haul behind a truck, whichever you prefer. That's traveling like a real road dog. When you stay in the RVs or stay in a large trailer that you haul behind the truck, and staying in at the RV resorts throughout America. This is what America's all about. RVing, I've never done it, but I plan on doing and enjoying this activity in the future. It'll become a great hobby as far as I'm concerned in the future. I'm going to take an RV all the way to Alaska. I've never been there, and I can't wait to go. It's another great thing that was purchased from Russia in 1867. We paid $7.2 million for Russia in 1867. Can you believe it? That Russia was stupid enough and hard up enough for the money to sell it for $7.2 million? Our entire beautiful state of Alaska? In 1867, we purchased Alaska for $7.2 million from Russia. Well, that's just a beautiful thing. And Greenland, we don't have to buy Greenland. We can just protect Greenland and enjoy using their resources and protect them at the same time. Because if we're enjoying using the resources, I guarantee they're going to be protected. And that's a good deal for both parties. That's a win-win. For Denmark also. Trump is such a smart negotiator, such a great negotiator. He's the best. He's the best inland, representing America, and he's the best to represent America overseas. Because he's not like those impersonators of our beautiful women in America that God gave the most beautiful possible organ on a human being's body, called a pussy. That's just all there is to it. God bless America, and birth keeps the world going round. So fuck Planned Parenthood, and fuck all these wacky Democrats that want to try to promote abortion. And that's why the Democratic Party is going to have a hard time in the future, because they don't produce enough babies. They're like their party. That's why they have to infiltrate America. They have to bring illegals in throughout America's borders, which are no longer borders if you allow people to walk through our land from Mexico to one of our lower states and walk through our state. And now they're in America. Now they're considered like indemnity toward the American public. They're considered like, hey, we need to be taken care of. We need medical attention. We need this. We need that. We need everything. We want everything. We want to take advantage of your system because you're the softest country in the world. And that's why people came to America. That's why 22 million people walked across our borders in between 2020 and 2024, because the Democratic Party wanted it to happen, because Biden wanted it to happen, because Mayorkas, bald-headed, bald-faced, lying sack of shit Mayorkas, that sat there and lied to the American public. For 4 years, lied to the American public and told the American public the borders were closed. They had control over the borders. Another activist for the Democratic Party. Another lying sack of shit. Mr. Hakeem Jeffries, same thing. He's another lying sack of shit. I can't help but mention him again because I didn't give him a nickname in my book. I forgot the nickname this socialist lying sack of shit in my book. I'm going to have to give him a nickname in my next book if I do write another book. It's a lot of work. I'm not spending money on a book. I'm making money on a book. If I can't make money on my first book, I'm not writing a second book. It's that simple. And if I can't print more copies of my first book keep on printing copies, keep on printing copies. The world can kiss my ass. I'm not writing another book. I'm an author. And if I've died broke, that's fine. But I'm not putting the work in writing a book until I sell enough copies of my first book. It's that simple. So, I really have no other source of income right now other than playing poker, and I can't sell sex capsules anymore. The government knocked me out of the sex capsule business. I'm completely done unless I get it legalized in America, and maybe Viagra or Cialis want to back me and let me go into business with me, or maybe Elon Musk, who's a great businessman, maybe somebody who would back me and let me open the largest sex capsule company in America with its own packaging factory, so I don't have to work with these larcenistic packaging companies in California. Although I do have great things to say about EW Packaging, because he was the most honest packaging company I ever worked with. Rob, that was his name. Strong Republican, strong conservative. And I hope he listens to my podcast in the future. I hope that we go out to lunch in the future, because he's a great guy. Rob, I love you. You're the best. As far as that piece of shit goes at Teamwork Packaging, that he's probably having the packaging done on duplicate blister packs that are being put out with my name on it, my company name on the back of it. If it's not him, it's probably somebody else. But it doesn't matter if it's him or somebody else. Somebody else is doing it, fine. If he's doing it, I want to go after his juggler, just like he tried to steal my $20,000 and put it in his pocket and not give it back. Because he knows I can't leave the state of Nevada to collect my money. So I don't forget. I'll get my money. One way or the other, I'm going to get my money from him. And I'm going to tell the truth about how he treated me and what he did to me, because he took a large retainer from me, because he knew that once he took my money, that I couldn't take him to court and sue him. This is how these packaging factories and other businesses, other packaging companies are protected in the state of California, because the government protects them. They allow them to be thieves to any visitor that comes in and has any product packaged. They allow them to rob any visitor that comes in the state of California, because you can't take them to court and sue them unless you're licensed in the state of California. And they know that. And that's why there's so many thieves and robber barons running packaging companies in the state of California, because they can get away with it. And that's why he tried to talk me out of a bigger retainer than he originally got than I gave him. And I told him, no, I'm not giving you more money. He wanted $20,000 more. Now he'd actually be sitting with $40,000 of my money in his pocket instead of just $20,000. He's lucky that he only owes me $20,000, because $20,000 is not as bad as being robbed out of $40,000, right? That's not really a good thing for him, though, because I'm a very stubborn man, and legally I will do it one way or the other. I'll remind everybody in the world not to do business with Teamwork Packaging, because he's a robber. He's a thief. Inherited the business from his father. And if you ever want to have any packaging done, you take it to EW Packaging in Gardena and work with the most honest packaging factory that I ever worked with in my lifetime. I don't know a lot of them, but I can guarantee you he's honest. And he won't steal your money if things don't work out. So God bless you, Rob. It was a pleasure doing business with you. And Teamwork Packaging can definitely kiss my ass. I'm on your trail. Believe me, I haven't forgot you. I haven't forgotten you, Hassan. I have not forgotten that you still owe me my money. And I will get it, because I'm a stubborn son of a bitch. My mother wasn't a bitch, but I'm the stubborn son of God. There you go. My mother was beautiful. Beautiful. Extremely honest, like my father. I had the best parents on earth. But getting back to this Billie Eilish, Billie Eilish, what a stupid statement for her to make. Sure, she got some applause, but she's going to get more backlash than she could ever imagine. And I can promise you, this lying bitch will never give up her estate to the Indian tribe that she claims is on stolen land, because she made that statement publicly. They don't want to give it up. They want to talk their shit, and they want to say their bullshit. at the Grammys, or they want to speak out and wear their phony pins on their suit collars. I'm like Fetterman. I'll never wear a suit. I hate suits. I love Fetterman for that. He doesn't dress up like everybody else. That's one of the reasons why he's so honest, and that's why he speaks his mind, because he doesn't give a shit what people think. Anybody who wears a suit, if they wear a suit and they're honest, more power to you. If you wear a suit so you can steal and so you can lie and so you can act like most politicians that are greedy and they try to fill their pockets while they are on a fake path of representing the American people, then you can all kiss my ass. Anybody who wears a suit thinks they're going to get away and get over on somebody because they're wearing a suit, because they can get away with their lies. Well, that's why a lot of people wear suits in the first place. And Trump wears a suit all the time. Good for Trump. Trump's not lying his ass off. Trump is telling the truth and speaks his mind. And he's like Fetterman. He doesn't care what people think. That's what I love about Trump. Life is too short to worry about what people think, including my family. I could give a shit what they think. I could care less what they think. They left me on the doorstep in that jail for 90 days, and they played their games, and they didn't bail me out for $700, and my bail in my car was 3 times that much when I had to sit in there for 90 days while my bail went up on my car and continually went up until it went up to a $2,200 bill. That's what I had to pay to get my Monte Carlo out of the police tow lot. So they enjoyed their moment. But that was only 90 days. Now I get to enjoy my moment by exposing them for how chicken shit they really are. Millionaires. My brothers, they're all millionaires. They're all Republicans. Don't think that politics bring people together. They didn't bring my family together because they're weak-minded people. They already know the strongest Republican is me. So that definitely was not an ace in the hole with my family. Anything I've done in my lifetime was never an ace in the hole with my living family. Only with my parents. My parents loved what I did. My mother loved it when I shot pool, when I traveled and played pool. She was 100% behind me, and my father was 100% behind me when I traveled and played poker. I'll tell you a story when I was back in Atlantic City. And I went and saw the movie Geronimo. And James Patrick, it had James Patrick who was in the movie. And he played the good guy working for the government, and he went after Geronimo. And I remember seeing that movie. What a great movie that was. But I saw that movie right after a snowstorm in Atlantic City. There was like a foot of snow outside the theater in the parking lot. And because it was out in Pleasantville, where I saw the movie. And Pleasantville is like 7 or 8 miles away from Atlantic City. And up the Black Horse Pike, just off the Black Horse Pike. Anyway, when I saw the movie, and there was a foot of snow out on the parking lot, I remember calling my father before I saw the movie, and I talked to my father on the phone and told him how I went up from Mississippi, and right after I got there, it was in a giant snowstorm. So I went from beautiful weather in Mississippi to go to a giant snowstorm in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and I'm standing out in a foot of snow right now while I'm on the payphone talking to my father. And he was laughing. He thought it was funny. And, I told him I was just getting ready to go see this movie, and told him I I don't think I said that I love you or anything like that. I wish I had, if I had. And if I didn't, I don't know. I'm a liar if I tell you that I did. So I'm just going to tell you that my father knew I loved him when I called him. And I knew my father loved me when he talked to me on the phone. He was all happy and all, like laughing. And I told him like I was going to see this movie, and it's nice talking to him and everything. That I was there playing poker. I was on my trip from Mississippi to try to play in the poker room at Taj Mahal, which was the biggest poker room on the East Coast at the time, other than Foxwoods in Connecticut. Taj Mahal was almost of equal size as Foxwoods in Connecticut, their poker room. And it was probably just as large, but yeah. But anyway, the Taj Mahal was the largest poker room in Atlantic City, which was before the Borgata was built. And I just told him how I was just there trying to pump up playing poker, and that I knew the poker action was better. I told him the poker action was way better than Mississippi. That's why I laughed. He laughed. And that's the last time, after I got off the phone with my father, that's the last time I ever talked to him. Because within, 10 days to 2 weeks, no later than that, I got a phone call. I was in the Taj Mahal poker room. Phone call for David Weber. And I go up to answer one of the phones on one of the pillars throughout the poker room. And I answer the house phone. And it was my brother or sister that called me. I think it was my sister that called me. It was my sister that called me and told me that my father just died. He had a heart attack. And, all because, the gold-digging bitch that he married didn't want to drive him to the hospital, and then she let him lay back down on the bed. He went into a coma and never woke back out of a coma. Does that sound like to you? Does that sound to you like he was okay to lay back in the bed if he went right back into a coma? That she never called the ambulance to come pick him up? Till finally they took him to the hospital and he still died in a coma. Crazy shit, man. I mean, convenient truth, right? Convenient truth. Like Al Gore's convenient truth. Found a way to spin it. Let's switch the situation in their favor, in his favor, so he can make millions of dollars off his book. The Inconvenient Truth. Isn't that what it was called, Ivan? The Inconvenient Truth? Al Gore's book? Huh? Check it out, my brother. The Inconvenient Truth. Oh, and Ivan, I thank you for giving me that name. Complete Unknown. Complete Unknown. The new Bob Dylan movie that came out in 2024. What a fantastic movie that was. It was 100 times better than the Bruce Springsteen movie, which is the worst movie I've seen in my lifetime. And A Complete Unknown was one of the 1,000 best movies I've seen in my lifetime. So it goes from one of the 1,000 favorite movies that I've seen in my lifetime, the Bob Dylan movie, A Complete Unknown, to the Bruce Springsteen movie that was my most unfavorite movie, the worst movie that I ever saw in my entire lifetime. I shouldn't have gone, but I just wanted to see, listen to his music. I didn't think his music was bad. Then when I found out what a head fuck this guy was, and he is a complete head fuck because he's a one-sided musician. I don't understand how anybody can be one-sided as a musician. They should open both sides of the fence. They should be able to hop over on either side of the fence, a true musician. They shouldn't be bigoted in any way, shape, or form. They're supposed to be the most open-minded people in the world. I'm a writer. I'm open-minded. If you put me in a room full of Democrats and they started talking their shit, and only Democrats were in the room, well, I would be considered the biggest bigot in the entire room. And I love that if I would be considered a bigot talking against a Democrat that doesn't want to hear any truth, that wants to only hear what they want to hear. Well, I want them to think that I'm a bigot. I want them to believe that I'm a bigot because that means that I accomplished my task by disagreeing with their stupid-ass opinions. And believe me, they're stupid opinions. They have no clue what's going on around them. They have no clue whatsoever. This is why Alex Preddick and Rhiannon Good indirectly were killed because they became so aggressive in their activation by activating their beliefs out on the street and going after ICE, trying to run over one of the ICE officers who had originally been dragged by a car a month earlier. So naturally, of course, he's not going to have a normal attitude or presence about people that are going to try to kill him with the car. So just like I said, would she be less threatening with a car, a 3,000-pound automobile, driving and trying to drive him over or going to drive him over if he didn't move to the side? And his torso was damaged during this incident. So he did get hit by the car, but he stepped aside and he shot her at the same time. Take your car, The Zach Calls Urban Auto Works on 1010 North Stephanie Street, Suite 1A. I can guarantee it'll be the best mechanical work will ever be done on your car. It's a personalized job for them. It's not a game of numbers. They're conscientious on anything they do. That includes oil changes, fluid flushes, alignments, brakes. Any kind of diagnostic work that needs to be done, they specialize in, and they do all types of engine work, top of the line. Take your car to Zach Hall's Urban Auto Works on 1010 North Stephanie Street, Suite 1A in Henderson, Nevada, straight out of Vegas. Anywhere in Las Vegas you live, take your car there. You can't go wrong. You can't miss. To purchase my book, go to www.theroadrunnerpodcast.com, and I'll throw in that free hat with any book purchase. My title, The Roadrunner in the Yellow Zone, is the greatest title ever created. Without the sun and the moon feeding off each other, there is no life on Earth. You know, you want to ask me if I believe he would have shot her and would have gone out of his way to shoot her if the same incident hadn't happened to him a month earlier? Is there really anybody that could answer that question other than himself, who was dragged by a car? Have you ever been dragged by a car? By a wacky Democrat that was out there protesting and didn't care about you as a federal officer who was representing the U.S. government, who was representing law enforcement in America, and getting dragged by you? Would you believe that he'd have a good attitude the next time something like that could happen, some kind of danger could be caused to him by an automobile, by a 3,000-pound automobile? Do you ask yourself this question again? Would she be more threatening trying to drive him over with a 3,000-pound automobile, or walking up to him with a knife at the sidewalk? What do you think he'd have a better chance of survival from? The knife, if she's walking up to him on the sidewalk, or a car where she's trying to run him over? I think that his chances would be better with a knife. And I don't think there's any officer out there that wouldn't pull out a gun if somebody was walking up the sidewalk toward them with a knife. I don't believe that would ever happen. I don't believe that they would sit there like a sitting duck without pulling the gun out and warning them they're going to shoot them if they keep walking and stepping forward with that knife pointed their direction, which is exactly what she did with 3,000-pound automobile. With the car that she was driving, it was pointed his direction. She was willing to run him over if he didn't step to the side. And that's exactly why his torso was damaged, his body was hurt, and that's exactly why he shot at her, because he felt in danger. And it's sad that it happened, but you don't really believe these movie stars or actors or entertainers would ever put themselves out there like Rian Good or Alex Preddy? You think they would put themselves out there like that, aggressively, like either one of these people acted, and confront ICE the way they did? Absolutely not. Of course not. They would never put themselves out there in this situation. They have to be in an enclosed room, secured room, to be able to talk their bullshit and say the stupid shit. Just like Eilish said. Sounds like to me she needs a new pair of eyelashes. Maybe she'll be able to think better if she does that. Maybe she gets a new set of eyelashes. Maybe she'll be able to think better. And maybe she won't say stupid things like this on national television. And naturally, she didn't expect any comeback from the Indian tribe. She probably thought that, like, the conservative movement was going to come after her and say such things. But this was really cool. This tells me the Indian tribe definitely doesn't like the fact that it changed the name from the Washington Redskins to, what's the name of the Washington Redskins now, Ivan? It's such a bad name that I can't even think up the name. I never would have forgot the name of the Redskins. That was, like I said, that was Mad Dog's favorite name and favorite football team of all, who I traveled across America with. Mad Dog died 8 years earlier than me. He died way earlier than me, but I remember I was 43 and he was 35 when he died. So that was 27 years ago he died, so he would actually be 62 years old now. Mad Dog, if he's still alive, but he didn't take good care of himself. He was like, he ate bad, didn't exercise, played poker all the time. You don't have your health, you don't have your wealth. Doesn't matter how much money you have. Your health is your wealth. Going for your wealth. Brian Kirk's boss needs to get off his ass and have me reinstated, so I can say to my public listeners, to my viewers, that he actually didn't act like the chicken shit Ryan Kirk and overrode his decision and allowed one of the best pot limit Omaha players in the world to play live poker, live pot limit Omaha, in the best pot limit Omaha house in Las Vegas, which is the Aria Poker Room. Now, like I said before, the Aria Poker Room wouldn't even be open without the World Series of Poker, so Ryan Kirk is on borrowed time as far as I'm concerned. And I hope that William Hornbuckle realizes this. And I would like to eliminate your name from being Hornybuckle to William Hornbuckle and show you some respect in the future. And hope that you quit going for America's juggler, the American public's juggler, trying to bring your company out of debt, trying to make it more convenient for them to make sports bets online so you can increase your revenue and bring your $30 billion debt down to nothing. Because your debt's never going down to nothing until you take care of your internal music, your internal problems inside your casino. That's your internal music inside your casino. Until your music meshes with the clientele, then you aren't playing good music. You can't overlook bad music being played, bad poker room cage members harassing the customers. They aren't even gambling against you. I was just using the house and just paying my time at the poker table, just like any other poker player does. I wasn't even gambling against your house. And I know that your cage members don't go out of their way to aggravate any gambler that walks up to the cage to cash out, no matter what amount of checks they have in their possession. I know your cage members in your casino act much more professionally than they do in the poker room. But they're not spoiled like they are in the poker room. They want a toke from everybody. It doesn't matter whether they win or lose. When they come up with a lot of checks, poker cage, they want their toke. What are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to ask when they walk up to the cage and they cash out? They're gonna slyly say, "Hey, how'd you do today?" Or, "I'm glad you did good today." No. They just smile at them and try to act like professionals, and they get toked. But what if the person doesn't toke them because maybe when he goes up to cash out the checks, and he has $20,000 in checks and he was stuck $30,000 and he still loses $10,000? You think that cage member cares? They don't care. They don't give a shit. They're going to judge that guy right or left. It doesn't matter. They're going to judge that person for being a non-toking individual, and they're going to ride him. They're going to eventually ride him for it because they thrive on their tokes. Unlike a bank teller at a bank, it doesn't thrive on their tokes. They just give you good service no matter what. That's the exact same way it's supposed to be in a cage. Whatever cashier cage it is in a casino, it's supposed to be done professionally. They're supposed to keep their personal views and their personal vendetta against any client. They're supposed to keep their mouths shut and just do their job, not harass anybody. So that means your music is being played badly, Mr. Hornbuckle. And you need to stop going after America and America's juggler. And stop advertising your sportsbook betting and fire Jamie Foxx because he's involved. He obviously doesn't need the money. He's just another greedy bastard like you and like your organization. So there you go. Ryan Kirk, kiss my ass. I warned you. I told you. This is how it is. Don't fuck with a Roadrunner because the Roadrunner bites back. I don't like I don't like people that go out of their way to give me their bullshit, that have a position of some form of authority, of any position for any business, whether it be the government, it doesn't matter. Any kind of position they have where they can have the authority to give me their bullshit, and know they can give me their bullshit, and they don't treat me with respect. I'm going to go out of my way. I'm going to go out of my way to expose them for who they are. And Eric Drake was the best poker manager I ever knew in my lifetime, who I know to this day, and degenerate horse bettor who had lost a lot of money betting horses, and now he plays 7-card stud. Whether it be at the Wynn Casino or whether it be at the Hustler Casino in Gardena. That's the last place I saw him, was the Hustler. But, Eric Drake, you were quite a character, and I just want to say you were the best poker manager I ever knew, along with Eric Slidell, who used to work for the Bellagio, used to be the poker manager for the Bellagio. So let's stop this horse shit and let the Roadrunner in your casino on his terms. Not to where I'm told that I'm wrong for the way I am, to the way I handle myself, because I happen to be a very outspoken person. Don't harass me, and I won't harass you or your cage member or anybody else in your casino. Just remember one thing: America rolls off of freedom. That's what it's all about. That's what living in Vegas is all about. Is freedom. We live in the freedom capital of the world, called America, the United States of America. And the wacky Democrats trying to eliminate this from happening. I can only say this: kiss my ass, go find a real job, and stop wasting the taxpayers' money and vetoing everything that America voted for to accomplish, everything that the American public voted for. Trump is fulfilling the agenda that we voted for, to close our borders, to get the illegal aliens out of our country, and especially the ones committing the crimes, and have them come in legally. Why should they be able to walk across our borders when I've been waiting for 2 years for my wife to come in here from Vietnam? Why do they deserve that? Why am I not enjoying my wife's company right now? Because she has to come over here legally, and she's applied for a visa. And this is what's happening right now. I'm waiting for her to come over here to America. And believe me, I could play poker for a living. I do not have to write another book. I could play poker. I could travel throughout America and play poker for a living. I've done it in the past. I can do it in the future. And my game will get better than it is right now, because I plan on being the best in the world at what I do. And that's being the best pot limit Omaha player in the world. If I'm not, I'll play with anybody in the world that plays that game. And I'll have the bankroll to do it. So I don't want to lose a lot of money right now. I'm very cautious about losing money, because I don't make a lot of income playing poker. I have to pick my spot. I have to travel to California and play. I have to drive up to Reno and play, because I can't play in the Wynn and I can't play in the MGM. The reason I got kicked out of the Wynn is because I wouldn't match a pot. They tried to tell me that I had to match a pot, and I said, look, I bet out of turn. That's true, but my opponent was hiding his cards. He had his hands covering the cards. So he was actually the one cheating. I'm not cheating by betting out of turn. I made a mistake. I'm not going to match the pot. Well, you got to match this $500 pot. If you don't match the $500 pot, we're going to get security and we're going to 86 you out of here. I says, well, I guess you're going to have to get security and 86 me out, because I'm not matching the pot. There is a gaming commission also. Does the gaming commission have anything to say on this? Naturally, the Wynn's not going to say anything, because they formed their own gaming commission. The gaming commission is obsolete. It doesn't mean anything in Las Vegas, in the state of Nevada. It's meaningless. The gaming commission caters to casinos. Casinos make their own rules. That's not the way it's supposed to be. That's not why the gaming commission was created. And I'm going to expose the Caesars Gaming Incorporated, which is the largest gaming company in America, not in the world, but they're second to a large gaming company in China. And They were in the World Series of Poker. But like I said, everybody has a hard on for me. As far as poker rooms go in Las Vegas, they have a hard on for me because they know I live here, so they go out of the way to aggravate. And they actually chased me out of the World Series of Poker. I didn't do anything wrong. They chased me out. The guy was giving me a hard time. I stood up and I said, I said, you're not threatening me on shit. You're not going to do shit. And then the foreman told me I had to leave for the night because I stood up. Well, I stood up because I let him know that I wasn't going to sit there and listen to his shit when I was sitting at the poker table. Because I have a hard time taking shit from people that go out of the way to aggravate. And they do it on purpose. Because a punk always knows the system. They're always thinking about the system. That's what punks do. That's what talkers do that can't back up what they're going to say. They go out of the way to aggravate because they know somebody's got their back, just like the cage member in the aria. Just like this poker player at the World Series was playing in a game in the World Series of Poker, and I wrote sent an email to the Caesars Incorporated, Gaming Incorporated, and told them, I said, look, you need to reinstate me immediately. I sent them the email about 10 days ago. I still haven't heard from them, so I know it's going to be like it's going to be a catch-22 act, and they're going to tell me, oh, okay, we're not going to let you back in. Personally, I don't really care if they let me back in. Because I'm not really too emphatic about being around a large group of poker players that come into Vegas and they team up and they team up on the same bankroll and sit in the same game, and they'll play the same bankroll in a live game in the poker room, in the temporary poker room at the World Series of Poker, and two players will be playing off the same bankroll in the same game that you're sitting in. That's called cheating. You got two players, like I said, if you got 9 players at a table and each player is playing their own bankroll at the table, they're representing themselves, that's justifiable. That's legal. That's a good, legitimate game to be playing it. But if you've got 2 players that are sitting in the game and they're sitting in the same game and they're playing off the same bankroll, this happens readily at the World Series of Poker because it's a temporary live room. So there's a lot of combinated bankrolls sitting at the same table. That means there's a lot of cheating going on. Indirectly, there's cheating. Now, when I say this is a fact, no, I'll just tell you for my street savvy, this is my opinion, that anytime the higher you play, the greater the opportunity is to be cheated. The higher that game becomes, the higher the limit game becomes, the greater the opportunity is to become cheated, or be cheated in that game. This is stone cold truth that I'm telling you right now. And that's my stone cold opinion, and that's straight from the street. So, like I say, if the World Series of Poker doesn't clean their act up, I don't really want to play in their live games in the first place. What I'm saying is, if they do clean their act up, and they do have floor people that enforce the game and watch it more closely, and the dealer watches the game more closely, how can they prove it? They really can't prove it. It's a hard thing to prove it. They have to go out of their way to prove it. And as long as they get the rake, they don't really care. They don't really care about the situations that are occurring in the room because they're after the rake. They're trying to get the rake. They're trying to get as many tables going as possible. And if they can get people playing in the game and they feel more comfortable in the situation they're in, and these 2 people playing the same bankroll in the same game, are not going to go out of their way to tell everybody they're playing the same bankroll, so they do it and they allow it to be done because they're after the rate. That's what they're trying to get. That's why Caesars Gaming Company Incorporated is in charge of the World Series of Poker at the Horseshoe and the Paris Casino. That's why they run the World Series of Poker, because it's bringing their company out of debt. Well, I do have one thing to say about Caesars Gaming Incorporated that I like. They haven't lowered their level. They haven't lowered their standards to try to go after the American public's juggler and promote sports betting online, like the MGM has done. And that's like a good thing. So I do commend Caesars Gaming Incorporated for not doing this and not using the same strategy as Hornbuckle used by hiring Jamie Foxx as their gaming ambassador to promote online sportsbook betting. Caesars is using a different method, but they have the World Series in their pocket, in their back pocket. The Aria and the MGM doesn't. They'll never get that location. Caesars Property, they knew when they bought the Horseshoe, they knew they were going to get the World Series of Poker, which originally was being held at the Rio. They took it over, which I'm glad that it happened, because the World Series of Poker is a much better event now, as far as I'm concerned, and a much better facility than it was at the Rio. And it's more convenient. It's more in the center of everything. It's directly across from the fountain. It's Bellagio. It's almost next door. It's next door. The Horseshoe is next door to the what a beautiful casino. I can't think of the name, but 100 yards away from the Flamingo, the Flamingo Casino. 100 to 200 yards away from that. You got the Moulin Rouge, which is a fun little casino to go to and drink your margarita. So it's a great atmosphere that it sits in. So that's a good thing also. And I actually enjoyed the very first time that I ever played in the World Series of Poker in years and years and years was last year. And when I got chased out, and I tried to tell the floor man what happened, and I said why. I tried to explain to him why I was chased out and that the floor people made a bad decision the night before. And he told me, you're okay to walk back in and play. And then he wouldn't listen to me and wouldn't listen to why I got kicked out. And he said, the report's had already been filed. I said, well, if I'm the only person who was asked to leave the room that night in that game, and that means the report was about me. So I'm trying to tell you what happened. I don't have time to listen. Please listen to me and let me tell you what happened. It's very important to me. You know something? I don't want to hear your bullshit. He said, you're out of here for good. He got security in 86 went out of the room. A rental foreman named Jay. Maybe like when I see him, and I see him in person, if I don't get reinstated to the Horseshoe and to the World Series of Poker, in between that time, I'll make it a point to go see him in person and see what he says. And if they arrest me, so be it. I don't care. At least I'm doing what I believe in. And I know that I didn't do anything wrong in the first place. Any more than I did anything wrong with the Aria. And anything more than I did anything wrong with the at the Encore Poker Room. Because I didn't match the pot. They want to enforce that rule that I have to match the pot. Well, that's okay. I made the mistake of paying them off 3 months earlier when they said I had to match a pot, and I paid them off $400 when they actually had a guy in a high limit, no limit game go up and look at somebody else's hand during the hand. He was in the same hand as the person sitting to my left, and he was sitting to his left. He walked over and looked at his cards during the hand. I picked up my $400 in checks off the table and I walked out. I said, there's no way that I'm continuing to play this hand. That's called cheating. You cannot look at your opponent's hand while you're in the hand. And I came back 2 days later and they had a security guard standing next to me underneath the camera, and he says, you need to stand right here. I need to have somebody talk to you. And they had upper management come and talk to me. They said, if you don't pay the $400 back for the money you took off the table, which was my money that I put in the pot, if you don't give the $400 back, you can't play in the room anymore. Well, I gave him the $400, and I never should have. I was weak by doing that. I should have told him, fuck off, and not giving it back. And it wouldn't do any good because the Gaming Commission is meaningless. Even if I filed a complaint with the Gaming Commission, they could still 86 when you keep me out of the casino, and say we have the right to reserve service to anyone or exclude service to anyone, just like Ron Kirk did at the Aria. Like I said, they got a hard-on for David Weber. They've got the David Weber derangement syndrome, the same thing the Democrats and all the Democratic politicians have versus Trump, because Trump is Trump and I'm me. I don't think that Trump is like me. I don't think that I'm like Trump. But we just happen to have the same type of personalities, that's all. And I wouldn't have it any other way. As far as Vegas goes, this is my town. And I just told you everything that happened to me, and how could I be right if I've been kicked out of 3 major poker rooms? The Aria, which represents the MGM, Gaming Incorporated, the World Series of Poker, the Live Poker Room, which represents Caesars Gaming Incorporated and all the properties that they are leasing from Vera Real Estate Incorporated, which owns the entire strip, besides the Wynn and the Encore. And, of course, the MGM, which owns most of the properties along the strip, except for the Wynn, Encore, Caesars Palace, Flamingo, the Horseshoe, which used to be Bally's, Paris, Planet Hollywood Casino. Straddle was owned by Golden Work Gaming Incorporated. And thank you, Ivan. You gave me that information also. And that's just how it goes. The strip is basically owned by like 4 gaming companies. 4 different gaming companies lease the entire strip for their gaming. And all the restaurants inside these places, they represent the leases and everything so that you can enjoy all the amenities created in all these casinos. And believe me, these casinos have a lot of beautiful amenities. Some of the greatest live shows and so many live shows you can see in Las Vegas is fantastic. It's awesome. It's incredible. And I don't care. No. If they kick me out of the poker rooms, I'll go see a live show. Fuck them. They come after me, go ahead. I'll say on my live podcast that I got arrested while I was going to see a live show with my wife. So be it. I'm fearless. As long as I do what I believe in, that's all that matters. That's all that I care about. And to all these people with the David Weber syndrome in Las Vegas, you can definitely kiss my ass. This isn't my town. And I'm going to be happy whether I walk into a casino and play poker or not, because they've got so many beautiful restaurants to eat at, and they're not going to say a word, trust me. You know why they're not going to say a word? Because they don't internally run their casino as effectively as I ran my business. I had no leaks in my business. I was a one-man ship. I ran my business as hardcore and as effectively as you can possibly run a business. I was on top of everything. When I get credit, I got paid. Anybody who stiffed me, like Jerry in Phoenix or like Joy in Boise, Idaho, 123 Orchard at the Chevron station, and sold the station to his wannabe friend or his relatives or whatever it is, or whoever it was he sold it to. They said, oh, we don't have to worry about contacting him anyway because you're no longer in the business anyway, so we don't care, so fuck off. Okay. And then they changed their number. So be it. No problem. They can't control my live podcast. I run my live podcast. And along with my co-pilot, Ivan, who's the greatest person in my corner that I could possibly ask for. So there you go. Just like Joe Rogan has good people in his corner, I've got a good person in my corner also. And I only need one good person in my corner. And if I'm lucky enough to have one person in my corner that can do everything that he does for me already, and so far, and in the future, has done everything for me in the past, like I say, it was my web developer in the past. So I'm blessed to have Ivan in my corner, and he's blessed to have me in his corner. It's like, there you go, Ivan. Thank you, my brother. Other than that, this is a Roadrunner straight out of Vegas. And if I remember to talk about these phony actors again, don't punish me for it, because they want to speak out. Well, I dropped out of acting school. I was born to be an actor also, but I dropped out of acting school because too many phony people in the same room. I couldn't take it. I couldn't deal with it. I didn't like the way I looked on camera. Isn't that sick? I didn't like the way I looked on camera, so I didn't want to be an actor. But I was weak-minded back then. I'll step back into the business. One way or the other, I'll write a script. I'll write a movie script. I'll pull a Rocky on their ass. Well, they don't get the script unless I get the leading role. And it's going to be a movie about a pool player. I can guarantee you that. Because I see all these acts try to play pool. All these actors try to play pool in a movie. And they suck. They suck. The greatest thing about Paul Newman was watching his eyes when he shot. You didn't watch him shoot the shots. But you got to see Jackie Gleason in The Hustler. He shot all his shots. Jackie Gleason was a real pool player and a great hustler. And that's why Jackie Gleason was so funny and so enjoyable to watch on his TV show. What was that TV show called, Ivan? I can't end my podcast till I see that, till I know what that show was that Jackie Gleason has. The Honeymooners. Yeah, it came to me. God gave it to me. God gave me a good memory. And wasn't he fantastic? Jackie Gleason was the greatest. Well, you know, another great pool player was in Hollywood was Mickey Rooney. Mickey Rooney was also another great pool player in Hollywood. Well, I don't know how Jackie Gleason played poker, and I don't know how Mickey Rooney knew how to play poker, but I play poker left-handed, and I play pool right-handed. So maybe I can throw a card game into that strip, into that script, into the movie script. And you can see that I am ambidextrous, and I am blessed. And I was blessed with the gift to write, and I was blessed with the gift to talk. God bless me both ways. God bless all of you for listening, and God bless you otherwise. It doesn't matter. Just remember one thing. This is very important. If you don't have a dog and you're bored in life, go adopt a dog. Go get a dog. Go take him out of that animal shelter that might kill him in the future. It might keep them alive, and they'll be bored to death anyway. My dog was in an animal shelter at Huntington Beach Animal Shelter for 2 months. She was locked up in a cage. Now she can't stand the thought of me leaving her when I leave home. She wants to go everywhere with me. She doesn't want to be left because she probably could never, ever, she'll never, ever be able to forget how she was left in that kennel and she was locked in that cage for 2 months. I'm hooked on my dog. My dog is hooked on me, and I'm so glad to have her. I'm so lucky to have her. And like I said, it was fate how I found my dog. All of a sudden, like God gives me a thought to go look at an animal shelter and find a dog, and 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later, I'm looking at the sky, and that's the dog I wanted. Well, that's what happens, and that's what you need to do. If you don't have a dog and you're bored in life, go get a dog, and keep that dog alive and give that dog the greatest life possible, and be the best friend of that dog, because I guarantee that dog is going to be your best friend also. And they're dying to meet you. They're looking forward to meeting you. Their tail is going to be wagging the same second you walk up. 67% of dogs were killed in an animal shelter in Virginia. 67% of all the dogs in that animal shelter. Because they can't feed them to keep them alive. They can't spend all the money. Animal shelters are there to keep dogs alive as long as they possibly can. They're not the enemy. Animal shelters are not the enemy. If they weren't around, you'd never be able to find that dog and adopt that dog. So go to an animal shelter. Take care of business. Get a Heinz 57 or a purebred. It doesn't matter. They're all the same. They're all straight from God. Dog is God spelled backwards. Take care, my brothers and sisters, and I'll see you in my next episode. The Roadrunner Podcast, straight out of Vegas.